Hi dears, welcome all of you to the English online class. We completed 2 lessons in Unit 2, that is, a shipwrecked sailor and from a railway carriage. The first one, a shipwrecked sailor, is a touching story by Luis Alejandro Velasco, and from a railway carriage is a poem written by Robert Louis Stevenson. The whole unit, including the 2 lessons, is about travel and journey. Today, we are going to study the 3rd lesson. That's also a poem, Marvellous Travel. It is written by the poet Joshua Fernandez. It's also a poem describing about traveling. Okay. Before entering to the poem, now we can discuss about the poet Joshua Fernandez. Joshua Fernandez is born on 1974. He is a Malaysian film director and designer. He first started working in the film industry from 1995 onwards and made his directorial debut in the year 2000. One of the co-founders of BOO Films, SDNBSD, that is a Malaysian film production company, the name of a Malaysian film production company. Joshua served as its executive producer between 1998 and 2001. He is also a gifted music composer who has a number of albums to the credit. That is all about the poet. Here, the poem describing about the traveling, and it also describes about new people and their lives in the views of the author while he is traveling. We all travel to many new places, isn't it? But we didn't think about the people belongs to that places and their lifestyles, etc. Also, we didn't think about why we are traveling or what we get from each traveling. Am I correct? We didn't think about why we are traveling or what's the reason for our travel or what we get from each traveling, etc. Traveling is a way of getting to know the world, finding out new people and learning about their lives. Okay. Now, we can study the given poem, Marvellous Travel. First, teacher read each stanza and you must carefully listen by watching each lines in the text. So, take your English textbook and turn page number 72. Marvellous Travel. First, I read the first stanza, that is the first 4 lines. I travel with my eyes, watching those silently cry, asking themselves the question why someone left them without saying goodbye. Once again, I travel with my eyes, watching those silently cry, asking themselves the question why someone left them without saying goodbye. Here, the poet himself is the speaker. Here, the poet himself is the speaker. The first stanza here explains the speaker, that is, the poet traveled not only for seeing the entire world but for seeing the sorrows and pains of the people. Here, first line, I travel with my eyes. That means the poet travels with his eyes. For what? Watching those silently cry. The poet is watching the people's silent cry. And he asks the reason, asking themselves the question why. Then he asks the questions to himself, why they are crying. Someone left them without saying goodbye. He asks why somebody left them without saying goodbye. That means the speaker, that is a poet, traveled not only for seeing the entire world but for seeing the sorrows and pains of the people. He also asked a question to himself. Why they left from the world without saying goodbye, or by not giving a clue, or by saying anything? What's the reason? He asked himself. He says that he travels by watching carefully the people and their pains and sorrows and silent cries. Also, he asked himself that why someone left their dears without saying goodbye. Without saying goodbye or without saying any word. They left them without saying anything. Can you follow me? Try to follow. Otherwise, we can discuss this in the offline class. Then the second stanza. I travel with my thoughts. I travel with my pen to write about children, women and men. Once again, I travel with my thoughts. I travel with my pen to write about children, women and men. I travel with my thoughts means he travels with his so many thoughts in his mind. Then I travel with my pen. That means he used a pen to write about the people he met during traveling and to write a travelogue. Travelogue means yatra vivaranam. Then the third line, to write about children, women and men. That means he used his pen to write about the sorrows and pains of children, women and men and his experience. The poet traveled with his thoughts, and while traveling he used a pen to write about men, children and women and his experience through the traveling. The second stanza explains the poet travels with his eyes and thoughts to see the world, know about the people and to enjoy various experiences or to write about various experiences throughout the traveling. He travels with his pen and voice. He asks the people about their problems and understand their pains and note their views and words in a book or in a paper. He writes about the men and women, tribes and children of different races and tribes, etc. The entire meaning is the poet travels with his thoughts and throughout the traveling he used a pen to write about the people belongs to that places or to write a travelogue. The next stanza. I travel with my voice, I travel with my hope that something new would spring into my horoscope, whether in Asia, America, or Europe. There will always be something interesting to scope. Once again, I travel with my voice, I travel with my hope that something new would spring into my horoscope, whether in Asia, America, or Europe. There will always be something interesting to scope. I travel with my voice. That means he speaks with the people where he met during the traveling. And I travel with my hope means he hopes to have new experiences that will change his life. He hopes from the journey or from the traveling, he had new experiences that will change his life. And that something new would spring into my horoscope. Horoscope means the astrological forecast of a person's future. In Malayalam, is Jataka. Horoscope. Horoscope means the astrological forecast of a person's future. This stanza explains the poet travels with the hope of getting new experiences that may change his horoscope or his way of life. The new things or the new experiences got from the traveling change his entire life. He hoped that. Whether in Asia, America, or Europe, there will always be something interested to scope. That means he travels to different parts of the world and meets the people there. Wherever he travels, whether in Asia, America, or Europe, he hopes for something interesting. He hopes for something interesting. The next stanza. I travel to many different places, mix with many races, identify tribesmen by their faces, and little girls by their laces. Once again, I travel to many different places, mix with many races, identify tribesmen by their faces, and little girls by their laces. I traveled to many places. The poet traveled to many different places and met different peoples. During that time, he met different people and identified the tribesmen through their faces and girls by their laces. Tribesmen means people living in tribal area. Gotravargakar ennu parayum. During the traveling through different places, the poet met different people and identifying the tribesmen among them, from the different people, he identifies the tribesmen. How? Through their faces. The faces of tribesmen are different from others. So, he identified the tribes through their faces, and he identified the girls through their laces. Laces means a decorating ribbon. A decorating ribbon. Here, tribesmen means people in the tribal area. Last stanza. I travel without money, so please listen to my testimony. The good, the bad, even the ugly, every experience is worth life's journey. For I will always be marveled whenever I travel. Once again, I travel without money, So please listen to my testimony, the good, the bad, and even the ugly. Every experience is worth life's journey, for I will always be marveled whenever I travel. He traveled without money. Here we have to note his testimony. Testimony means a legal statement or truth, sakshyam. To the poet, the good, the bad, or the ugly experiences he gets from each travel are worth the life's journey. You know, life is a journey, isn't it? Life is a journey from one person's birth to death. One person's life's experience may be the same as one's travel experiences. In the whole world, there are experiences that are good, bad, or ugly. The whole world is a mixture of good, bad, and ugly things. Whatever it may be, there the sum of the good, bad, and ugly is the total world. According to the poet, each travel is an experience to him. Each travel is an experience to him. If he has no money, then each travel is a new experience to him. So, the poet is always marveled whenever he travels. Marveled. Marveled means wondered. He wondered for each travels. He enjoyed each traveling in his own point of view. He enjoys each travel, or he wondered each travels in his own point of view. And while traveling, he had so many good and bad and ugly experiences. The sum total of these three is the entire journey. But whatever it may be, he enjoys his travel, and he got so many new experience from each traveling. He got so many new experiences. That's all about the poem. The poem does not have a consistent rhyme, scheme, and a stanza system. The poem does not have a consistent rhyming scheme or stanza system. For example, in the first stanza, once again, I travel with my eyes, watching those silently cry, asking themselves the questions why. Someone left them without saying goodbye. There are rhyming words, cry, why, goodbye. But ice is not a rhyming word because it ends with ice. The pronunciation is ice. But the other three words, cry, why, goodbye. Therefore, the rhyming words are cry, why, and goodbye. Then in the second stanza, pen and men. And in the third stanza, hope and horoscope. And in the next, Europe and scope. Then places, races, faces, laces. Money and testimony. Ugly and journey. That's all. All are rhyming words. Then here are some words. Here, someone left them without saying goodbye. Someone, saying, something new. In the third stanza, something new would spring into my horoscope. Something, spring. Then in the next line, there would always be something interesting. Something. These are all alliteration. We already studied about alliteration in the activities of railway railway cadets. These are the words, the lines from the lines. Someone left them without saying goodbye. So something new would spring into my horoscope. Something interesting to scope, etc. are examples of alliteration. Etc. are examples of alliteration. Then look at the lines. I travel with my thoughts. I travel with my pen. In the second stanza, the first two lines. And in the third stanza, I travel with my voice. I travel with my hope. Here, this is called anaphora. Anaphora means the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive lines. അതായത് തുടരെ വരുന്ന വരികളിലെ തുടക്കത്തിൽ ആവർത്തിക്കപ്പെടുന്ന വാക്കുകളെയോ ഫ്രേസുകളെയോ ആണ് അനഫോറ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അനഫോറ, ANAPHORA, അനഫോറ. വി ക്യാൻ ഡിസ്കസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ ഓഫ്ലൈൻ ക്ലാസ്. ഒരു തുടക്കത്തിൽ തുടരെ വരണം, അടുത്തടുത്ത് വരുന്ന രണ്ട് വരികളുടെ തുടക്കത്തിൽ റിപ്പീറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് വരുന്ന വാക്കുകളോ ഫ്രേസുകളാണ് അനഫോറ. ഇവിടെ വരുന്നത് ഐ ട്രാവൽ വിത്ത് മൈ തോട്ട്സ്, ഐ ട്രാവൽ വിത്ത് മൈ പെൻ, ഐ ട്രാവൽ വിത്ത് മൈ വോയിസ് ആൻഡ് ഐ ട്രാവൽ വിത്ത് മൈ ഹോം. ദീസ് ലൈൻസ് ആർ കോൾഡ് അനഫോറ. ആവർത്തിക്കുന്നത് എവിടെയെങ്കിലും ആവർത്തിച്ചാൽ പോരാ, തുടരെയുള്ള വരികളിൽ തുടക്കത്തിൽ തന്നെ ആവർത്തനം ഉണ്ടായാൽ മാത്രമേ അതിനെ അനഫോറ എന്ന് പറയുകയുള്ളൂ. Now we can discuss about the questions given below the poem. First one, why does the poet say that he travels with his eyes and thoughts? The poet says so because he keenly observes everything and listens the worries of the people he met. He also enjoys and explores everything comes along in the journey. Then, in the second question, what does the poet mean by I travel with my pen? Here the poet used pen to write about the people he met, or he likes to record all his travel experience and or to write a travelogue. Yatra Varna. The third question, that something new would spring into my horoscope. What does this line mean? The poet hopes that the experiences he gets from each travel may serve as turning point of his life, and it would be change the life in future. Every experience is a turning point in his life and it change his life. That is to change his horoscope. Horoscope means ജാതകം or അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ തലവിധിയെ തന്നെ അത് മാറ്റും എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Then the fourth question, who are the different types of people the poet meets during his journey? During his travel, the poet meets children, women, men, tribesmen, little girls and many other people in different races and places. Then the fifth question is, every experience is worth life's journey. What does the poet mean by this? That is the last question. It means that we may face different kinds of experiences like good, bad or ugly in travel, isn't it? But all those experiences are worth for us. because they help us to face the challenges in our whole life or challenges in our life journey from birth to death, which also is a mixture of good, bad and ugly. Every experience is a mixture of good, bad and ugly. But getting the new experience is very important. Okay. This is all about today's class. Now, one more lesson is remaining that can be studied in the next class. Here, today's class, most of time I use English language, but now I have a doubt, how many of you can follow me? So don't worry, dears. If you have any doubt, surely we can complete it in the offline class. Okay, try to understand or try to follow with me in today's class. If you are failed to cooperate with me, then surely we can discuss it in the offline class. Okay, so now we can wind up here. Then we can see in the next offline class in school.